course. Like, is it like or something?
Just like,
Oh, okay.
I love that.
We're live, guys.
Oh, we're live now.
Live.
Tell us when we start. Do we start?
We're good to go. We're good to go.
Okay, great. I'd like to welcome everybody here. Welcome to The Ride Live here at our beautiful, stunning showroom cum studio here at Giltrap Skoda Newmarket. Our friends come down for a stunning deal on a Giltrap Skoda. I don't know if you get a stunning deal. I don't know if you get any deal, but even at retail, look at the beauty.
favourite colour car.
Now, I'm John Bridges, this is Paige Patterson. If you don't know Paige, a legend of the track on a bike. What's your best result?
Oh,
What's your most stunning?
We'll go with Junior Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Third in the sprint. Yeah. Now I do longer rides.
Junior
A
World.
bit more challenging.
Junior World podium. That's pretty amazing. That's pretty
Track
amazing.
cycling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not out on the road or anything. Anything over 30 seconds, a little long.
Don't diminish that. You went to the Worlds and you came third. That's amazing. Ask me what my best result is.
So, John, funny you ask. What was your best result?
Don't worry, I was Counties Manukau Cycling Club Winter Series 2009 B grade champion, second place.
B grade.
Yeah, well, you know, okay, let's go on. Let's go on.
C grade, but B, you know, yeah.
Let's not concentrate on it too much. We've got a lot of great things that we're going to be doing on the show today, and we'd like to start off. I was going to start off by asking Paige what's been going on. What were we going to begin with by talking about? We had an idea,
So
remember?
your cycling kit. You
Oh,
told
yeah.
me beforehand.
I wanted to ask Paige because we're designing a cycling kit. I don't know how many of you guys have thought about designing a cycling kit for the guys that you, or the team that you ride with. Like, I've got a few guys, we go out on a Sunday morning for our 2-hour ride.
Weekend Warriors?
Weekend Warriors,
Oh,
exactly.
classic,
You know.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
we
yeah.
want to look pro, so we thought we'd get a cycling kit made, and there's a company called Tenali in New Zealand.
Oh, nice.
And you can,
Yeah.
you know, you can consult with them and make awesome
Local,
kit, which you
yeah.
design yourself. But
Yeah.
I've got no idea what to do, and I thought I'd ask you.
Yeah. I've done
What
a
are your
few.
tips? What are your tips for designing kits? You've done a few?
Yeah, I have been involved in a couple of kits. Look, there's probably a golden rule. Never put white around the bottom area because if you get wet,
Yes.
it's
We've
not
all-
a pleasant sight for your friends more than yourself. You don't get to see it yourself, but I mean,
Yep.
yeah, that's sort of a red flag.
It's a day one mistake.
Well, you'd hope that Tenali would actually tell you that.
They
but
would.
like, I'm actually more interested in the design. What are you going, like, what's the name? What's the...
We're called the Marsden Wheelers because
Okay.
we meet at Marsden Road.
Right.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've heard
it's
that
not
name
exciting.
before, but
There is another Marsden Wheelers.
Have you
That's
got
the
a
trouble.
sponsor or
There is
something?
another Marsden Wheelers cycling club in New
Yeah, there
Zealand,
is,
so there's
yeah.
going to be there could be some argy-bargy.
they could buy it off
Have
you.
you
This
got-
could be your new business, mate.
Any more tips before we?
No, to be honest, I'd just stick away from the white.
Okay.
Well, actually, to be honest, it'd be fine for me because I'm a fair weather rider.
Right, so
But
it
I
doesn't
mean-
matter. You're not going to be out in the
But
rain.
yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
top tips from Paige.
Great. It's time for us to cruise into our first thing, and I think you're going to show us a little bit about this thing here, aren't you? We're going to an unboxing here at the
Unbox.
Ride Live.
Straight into it. Well,
clear some
last
space.
week we had plenty of knowledge. Well, I was leading the charge, but in regards to the dropper post,
Yes.
yeah, huge raging success. Had plenty of people get in touch saying that they learned plenty.
About the dropper post.
Yeah, so it's now time to sort of, live up to expectations.
Back
really.
it up with another great
So
mountain
we've got
biking
to
accessory.
open it for starters. So, well, this is more of a challenge than first expected.
It says push core on the box. Lots of photographs of tyres on the box and drawings.
Yes.
What's the basic idea?
Okay, so this is called tyre suspension. So the whole idea behind it is that it actually gives you a little bit more stability, right? As well as like when you hit a rock or something when you're out there on your mountain bike, that it actually is more of a cushion, so
Right.
push core. So it's actually got, I'm not sure, are we able to get the zoom in camera going? If you can see here, it gives you a couple of examples. So this is in regards, so the difference between, this is the cush core and a tubeless tyre, because tubeless is a new rage, right, out there on mountain bikes at the moment. This one shows here, as you go around corners and stuff, the core of the cush core actually keeps it a little bit more stable, so the tyre's not sort of rolling over the edge and less chance of a puncture, or simply the tyre just rolling off. And the other one is impact, so in regards to actually hitting a rock. It dampens it. So
Less
it's-
likely to get a pinch flat or something
yeah,
like that.
pinch flat, but also on the bike, just less of an impact on your arms
This
as well.
is driving me mad, Paige. We've
Yeah,
got to get this
okay,
box
let's-
open.
okay,
We've got to rip.
time to shine.
If we have to rip it, then we have to rip it.
we sure? Oh, there we go.
Okay.
A bit
all right,
easier
good.
than the first.
Oh,
Whoa.
wow. That is
Oh my
weird.
gosh.
That is weird.
I did not. Is that it?
That is, there must be another
That's
one,
it?
presumably. They'd give you one
No,
for
but
each tyre.
that's-
That is so
Oh,
odd.
okay. I did not expect.
And it smells funny.
But it's massive.
Well, it's a 29er.
It's light.
It's for a 29er.
Wow.
It says 29er on it.
It almost
So,
looks like a snake, hey? Like you get it out and it's like, wow.
so that's another, how many grams is that? 150 grams, something like that?
Oh, I did not pick to open the box and see that. How about it? Okay, so what's in the box? Well, it comes with two because you usually have a pair of tyres rather than one, unless you're on a unicycle, right?
Well, that's not cycling, that doesn't count.
I'll be open to all different types of
I
cycling.
wish you guys could smell this because this is a real experience.
Hey, look, it also comes with some stickers to put on your what is it, your rim. That's another part of the bike. And so at any rate, I'm actually quite surprised, but you see it's got a bit of, it's got a bit of structure to it so that it's definitely going to fit on the inside of your rim. It also gives you installation instructions, which would actually be of best use to us too. So it shows how, it essentially is kind of like how you would put a tyre on a wheel, by the looks of things, but rather than the rim clipping in around the side, it clips into the inside of the rim, and then this goes on the outside.
And apparently these things are popular, are all the rage, are well reviewed. People find them good. They do provide stability and that protection from those pinch flats. So
I want to give
maybe
them a
go.
It's a lot bigger than what I thought. I really want to give it a go.
Can't see it catching on in the pro peloton on the road, but there you go.
Oh,
That's not what it's for.
You never know. You never know.
Excellent.
Hey, one last thing before you go. It comes with some valves, air valves. So
Oh, you need something special to get your,
valve core
because
included.
the tube's on the inside if you are doing tubes.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. So special.
Great.
Yeah. So there we are, the Cush Core tyre suspension. It's a new product to the market.
Now we've got time to have a look at some winter products here. We're coming into winter in the Southern Hemisphere where we are here in New Zealand, so it's time to look at some winter products. And the first one that we're going to look at is this little beauty here. This is the Giro Ether. I'm not sure how you spell that, how you say it. It's A-E-T-H-E-R, Giro Ether. Looking over at our guest. We've got a guest today coming up. He's over here, Alex Ray. Ether, do you reckon, Alex?
Ether?
Yep, he's nodding. He's not nodding. Yep, he works in a bike shop, he should know.
So we reviewed a laser. Well, we had a look at a laser last week. I used gyro myself.
Right.
Was it gyro, same thing? But anyway, we're interested to see what this one's like based on our. We were quite impressed with that laser,
Well, the laser
last week.
it was a beauty. It was the Bullet, which is their Aero model. This model is not the Aero model.
I think it goes the other way.
It is also a. It is also a MIPS model. This one. So remember, we had MIPS was the impact protection version of a helmet. It has the has a little layer inside it, so that if you have an impact that would tend to twist or turn your head, what happens is that actually the helmet twists within itself. Now, the MIPS on this, look at this little beauty.
It's light, eh?
What do you think of that?
It looks, it kind of almost scares me because it looks like there's nothing to it. Like you can kind of like put your fingers through it. You can.
Yeah, it's about 250 grams, so it's about 100 grams lighter than the laser Aero helmet we had last week. The Aero on these are pretty swift. It's a pretty fast. It's not a full Aero helmet, but it is pretty good.
Yeah.
And a lot of the pro teams are wearing this Ether, despite the fact that it's a little bit heavier than Giro's lightest, which is the Aeon, I think it's called.
That would be nice in summer.
Yeah,
You know,
and
like it's open.
It's
very
supposed,
open.
It's supposed to be very, very nice to wear as far as ventilation goes. So I'll stick it on and show you how it looks. Ooh, I love sticking helmets on. Feels like I'm about to go for a
smell
ride.
as the Cush
it's too
cores,
tight.
but that's nice. You use a gyro, don't you?
Yeah.
Are you a gyro
Yeah.
in your commuter?
No, gyro on my training and
It's quite.
a
It's
laser on the commute.
Look, I'm a truck at the end of the day, and it's got some really nice detailing to it, which I'm finding.
Yeah, what
so
have you-
it's actually got a bit of blue, a bit of navy blue to it around the sides, as you can see here. One feature actually I'm not liking though is that you can see the front underneath it.
Oh, yeah.
The tightening doodad.
Oh, you can see the
Yeah, there you go. That one.
rock lock mechanism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. But I like the style. I like it looks swish, eh? Like it looks like the ear's going to go around it.
What do you guys think in terms of mushroom head to sleek head? Where would you put it? Where would you sit it?
Let's see. Sideways is good. Yep. Front on. Yeah, no, I like it.
Okay.
I do. Do you know what it kind of reminds me of? Those helmets back in the day that like weren't really helmets. It was more like leather.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
The ones that just like literally went over the top of your head.
Yep.
Kind of reminds me of that.
For a few years when they thought we should wear helmets, wow, let's just wear little lumps of leather tied to our head. That's going to work.
That'll help out.
Now this is the opposite of that because of course it's got the MIPS protection, and what it does do is usually the MIPS protection is a little shell inside here. This is not that way, because what happens with those little shells, it'll catch your hair and it can be uncomfortable. This one has actually got 2 layers in the actual structure of the helmet.
Yeah, I can see
that
it.
line there is actually 2 layers, and if you can see that,
That is so
I don't know
cool.
if Michael, can you get this at all? That will show you how the 2 layers, and
That is so epic.
they're joined by little rubber strings inside there that allows, if you have a sudden impact, it allows about,
Whoa.
15 mils
I thought
of
you were
that.
going to put it out for a second.
So that's a beauty, and
That is cool. I want to have a play.
the
Wow.
news is it's also
Is this the latest one on the market?
top of the line, quite an expensive helmet, but
Right.
but a beautiful
Do you know
machine.
any idea how much we're talking here?
No idea. No idea.
Okay, but out of our price bracket.
Now, the next thing we want to talk about for our winter riding is,
I like it.
and we're going to come back to that because there's one feature of that I want to
What do
show
you
off using this. This is the Blackburn Dayblazer 800 front light.
And fact of the day, Paige uses this light herself.
Is this your actual light?
Yeah, it's my front light.
Well, while I get it out of here, can you give us a
I
review?
think that it's 1,000 lumen though. I think you can get them in different lumens.
You can. This is
Yeah.
an 800.
Yeah, I think mine's 1,000 or 1,200.
All right, humble brag.
Because I have a fear of darkness, so I must turn everything on and on full gas. So out of interest, my review as such on the light, great vision in the mornings. And what's cool about it, it's got quite a few different settings.
Yes.
And it remembers your setting you turned it off on.
Yeah, so when you turn it on again, it's on that setting.
Very
That's what
bright.
that's what you can only expect from a light as good as this. So inside you've got the light. How's the handle? How do you like that attachment system?
Great,
Does it work
because
for you?
what happens, so see the attachment system here, you can actually move it like this too. So I actually put it on, right, like that, and then you can twist it back like I do, and then you turn it like that. You can't obviously put it on when the light's in the way,
yeah, okay.
but you can twist it so it all stays aero. The only thing I find, which is most important,
Most important
I mean,
thing.
Tim wouldn't have that issue being on Swift, but we would. The only criticism I have is actually it's very hard to charge. If you can see in there, trying to actually get the charger into the hole can be quite
a bit of a trick.
yeah. You're kind of going up and down and up and down. That's the only thing. But it's great because it's waterproof. You can just plug this straight back in.
There, speaking of it, is the instructions and charger that also comes in the box.
Should we give it a go?
Now, what I can tell you about
yeah, it
is
goes.
that it is pretty bright.
Yeah.
Why don't you shine it? Shine it at Michael there.
Yeah, we'll show you all the different settings.
So the settings are 800 lumens straight on, then 500 lumens, and then 300 lumens. Then it's got a pulse of 200 lumens and a strobe of 200 lumens.
So
There's
I
only-
use that one.
That one there.
And I must annoy cars, but at the end of the day, I'm going to be seen.
The thing that I don't like about this light, and I'm going to give one short criticism, is that the strobe of the strobe is. Oh, you like give me some lighting because it's a pretty serious one. The strobe on this isn't as bright as the 800 lumens. So if you want to use the flash,
yeah.
you're
Oh,
not
what is
getting the
it?
full 800 lumens. And by the way, 800 lumens is about what a car headlight is on dip.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, a car
Oh,
headlight on
okay.
full is about 1200 lumens. 800 is about
Wow.
a car headlight on dip. So I've got a light that's quite similar, but when it's on strobe, it goes from a low light to the maximum
Oh, it does
and then
go.
back
Oh,
to
so
the
that
low.
doesn't go to the maximum.
So
it goes.
that one's only 200 on the
200
strobe.
seems really low, eh? Hey, but what's awesome too is that up the top here, where you see the, this is how you turn it on and turn it off. See how it's green? That means it's full charge. So when it starts going orange, it's going down the charge, and then red, it's
So you always know when you're going to need to charge it.
yeah. So when it's going, going orange. But I tell you what, this light has been great, and out in winter, out in Whitford, where there's very little, road lights, and you're going down some steep, dark hills. It is very good light.
Can you go out there and then shine this back on the helmet and see if we can see? Because one thing I didn't tell you about this helmet that we've got
It's
is that
reflective.
it's reflective, and If you go like
That's
you're
the blue.
right beside the camera,
That's the blue I was talking about. But that's cool because most of the reflective stuff, like the stuff on my backpack, my commuter backpack, is just silver. But you've got a bit of blue going on, a bit of style to it. I mean,
do you reckon you can see that, Michael, on the...
Oh, yeah.
You can pick it up.
You can sort of pick it up? Okay. All right, there we go.
Love it.
So those are 2 cycling winter products. And we've got one more here to unbox. We say unbox, but it's not in a box. And it's another gyro product, or Giro product.
Look how cool
This
this
one not tested in their MIPS lab in California, but simply a sweet little pair of gloves, which is got your gel inserts, got your waterproof and your windproof back, and
very nice.
pretty nice.
I'll tell you what's cool. I mean, one thing, I can't believe in Auckland it is so much warmer in winter than it is down the Waikato, so that's the first thing to point out. But secondly, we can see here is in Auckland it is wet,
Yep.
and so these have got good grip on the bottom of them, which is awesome. And then I also see on the front you've got a bit of poly, what is that? Poly,
Don't know. Neoprene?
thermal stuff.
Yep.
Looks nice, at any rate.
Good. So those are Giro Blaze 2.0 winter gloves.
Very nice.
Good stuff. That's good to have those
Awesome.
3 products.
Sorted,
Should we put them
yes.
out the front here?
I was going to say, sorted for winter now, huh?
Put those out the front because now we've got a guest to introduce to you. And he's coming from all the way just over here. Please welcome to the Ride Live Giltrap Skoda showroom studio, Mr. Alex Ray. It's a stunning. We don't have a studio audience for you, Alex. How are you, sir?
Oh, never better, mate. Never better.
I'm going to introduce you to our audience because Alex Ray's got a story which I really wanted to make sure that we could share with our Ride Live audience. Alex, I first met as a young man when he first came to the Tour of Southland, which is a bike. Was at that time it was a UCI 1.2 bike race in the south part of New Zealand.
2.2.
2.2 was it?
Yeah.
Great work.
So a tour that is accredited by the UCI, effectively the sport organisation that looks after the big events around the world.
Yeah.
And the Tour of Southland is is New Zealand's biggest tour.
Is
Very
it
impressive.
still
I don't think it's still a
Is that
UCI
Cycle
race.
Classic
yeah,
now
but the
the-
Cycle Classic is now sort of
Okay.
taken over as that UCI.
So what does 2.2 mean?
Oh, it's very. The 1 point something are the World Tour events, the big
Okay.
ones, and then
So
the
it's the
2.
next- ah.
Yeah, two point somethings are the
Yeah,
other.
it just makes it a little bit more official, but
Yeah.
for them to be non-UCI, like the Tour of Southland at the moment, it's still a fantastic race.
Oh, yeah.
Still some of the best people go to it.
Yeah.
Super hard, so.
Yeah, it's feared around the world. And Alex, as a very young man, went to that race. I was doing the commentary and stuff and making a program about it, and saw you get on the podium there at least one time and get right in amongst the action. And after that, you had an amazing cycle career. What we're going to tell the story of today is a terrible accident you had while training and your recovery from that accident. But first, let's set the scene. After I met you at the Tour of Southland, where did your cycling career go from there? What were your highlights?
Gosh, everything, every single day. I say this to people every time they ask. Just, if I got a puncture on the ride, if it was terrible weather, I loved it. Basically, just being able to be on the bike, just sort of see the scenery, be with other people, just be by myself. Just every day, I sort of found it to be really fulfilling and get a really good sense of accomplishment by progressing my own body, overcoming those physical challenges. I always enjoyed it. So.
And how long were you a cyclist, full-time cyclist for?
School?
That's a good question, right?
I mean, kind of, not too long, but
Yeah, but it was a good 4 or 5 years. You were full-time and you went and you raced all over the world. I know that, like in
States, was it?
The last-
US
Yeah,
as
so
well?
I think I spent 7 years. I spent the majority of 7 years overseas.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
basically a season in the UK, a season in Belgium, 3 years in the US, and then two or 3 years. I can't keep track of it, but and then 3 years back traveling around the world again. A lot of the time in Belgium.
Yep.
Yeah.
But just trying to really crack that pro tour level, trying to crack the real top level. Like you see a few people at the moment at the Giro d'Italia,
Yeah.
the Tour of Italy,
Yeah.
and the Tour of California.
Yeah.
So I was always sort of trying to make that level. So
Yeah.
as long as that was sort of on the horizon.
You were still motivated.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And then what happened to you one day in Auckland? Because I tell you what happened to me was that one day I woke up to read the news every morning. That's my job, working as for a television program about the news, and saw that somebody had been knocked off their bike in Auckland City on a rainy morning. And
Super early, right?
Super early in the morning, as far as we understood. And you know, if as all of us cyclists know, when we read that in the paper, you just get an awful, sick, sinking sensation. And didn't find out later that there was going to be a story about you, Alex. So tell us what happened.
I have no idea.
Thank you very much, Mr. Alex Ray.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, I think it's sort of, I don't know, I think I'm sort of only oddly grateful not to have any recollection of it. Obviously, the sort of impact and I suppose how I was affected with that crash, I have no memory of it. Basically, I ended
So
up
you were
being...
hit by...
Yeah, so I was out heading off to the Waitax, out of central Auckland. Had my training plan in mind, and it was super early, sort of, what was it, middle of April, and basically near St. Luke's, heading west. I was going straight along the road through a green light, and a driver turned straight in front of me. Apparently didn't see me, but I think the oddest thing is, like, I don't. It's kind of sad, I just don't have any hard feelings. Like, I have no idea what happened. I know that some people are pretty horrible and they just pull out in front of people knowing that they're there. The consequences of that are very serious. But yeah, I have no idea about the driver that hit me.
How does that feel to have this major event happen to you, and actually probably you'll never know exactly what happened? Is that annoying, or is it something that you don't worry about?
I suppose it's a little bit frustrating. At the end of the day, I know what happens when you're on a bike. There are a lot of risks out there. Driving a car, the few times I drive a car, no stress, nothing's going to hit you. It rains, you're sheltered from the rain. You want to go 100 k's an hour, you can do that in a few seconds. But on a bike, it's sort of you versus sort of everything else around you. If you come off your bike, I've been in bike crashes before, been in races, and sort of there's been incidents where there are crashes. You lose skin, like I'm sure you know as well, Paige. If you're, when you used to race as well. Basically, I know the consequences of bad events that go on, and so
Just the reality of it.
So you ended up in hospital. Obviously, it wasn't a minor crash. You ended up in a coma, right?
I mean, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sort of, I'm only glad to have sort of quite a few really good friends. Quite a few guys a lot of the guys from high school. And basically cycling with the grammar crew. Basically, a lot of those guys, they're still really, really good mates, and apparently a lot of them came to visit and were really supportive. Well, I can only say apparently, because I have no recollection of that. I have no sort of consciousness for almost a month in hospital.
Right.
Basically, as far as I can remember, there was 2 days, and I can remember one day where there were a bunch of friends that came, and we all went down for coffee. And then 2 days after that, I was out in a clinic in West Auckland getting sort of, I suppose, care with an acute brain injury.
Right.
So
there wasn't just the crash that you can't remember, but a whole month, a lot of that of which you were conscious and talking to people, and that's all just a blank now.
Apparently I was talking to people, yeah. Apparently, so basically about a week on sort of, around that sort of life support situation where it's just like I'm sort of...
Drifting in and out.
Yeah, exactly, like close to the end.
Yeah.
And then, basically sort of the next few weeks in hospital, apparently I could talk, apparently I could sort of respond to people, but
we were getting updates. You were, because we were getting updates from people. People like your friend Louis was giving us updates on on Facebook saying, "Oh, Alex is going well today." We had a couple of jokes with him today, and he's, so we were all, getting that sort of thing, which is stuff you can't remember. And then how long's the road been to recovery from there?
Because you're back on your bike now, right?
A little bit, yeah. I sort of, sadly, sort of cycling came to the point where it became too much for me to invest in. You know, it's like my time. I sort of began to realize like my time is. Yeah, my personality about it just sort of, or my actions towards cycling just sort of changed a little bit. Where it's just like, I sort of struggled to pursue the idea of trying to get to that top professional level.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just the good people around.
Yep.
Have good times instead of just like, you know, I'd always pursue my own actions within cycling, whereas now I'm just sort of like, you know, basically being involved with a local bike shop as well. It's just sort of, you know, I can spread the good word. You know, it's like all the products that we're sort of representing now. You know, it's just good to help other people sort of have a good time on the bike themselves. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, pass on that passion home.
Oh, absolutely.
And I saw you at the top of the Waitakaris the other day, didn't I? Riding up the top there, only a little bit behind.
Well, look, I
guys like
think you're
Louis.
gonna have to join. I think you're gonna have to join these groups a bit more often.
Yeah, I don't know.
They get to see
Up
more
the
of your mates.
Y-Tax all the time.
Exactly.
Well, it's
No,
great to
thank
have you
you.
back.
Right.
It is.
On behalf of the New Zealand cycling community, you know, we were scared, and it's really exciting that you're back here, back
Cheers,
on the
mate.
bike,
Yeah.
back in the bike shop. So thanks.
I agree.
I love it.
And now, the wonderful M of the Ride Live has given us Paige and Alex. Will you stick around and help us unbox this mystery box that we've got
Let's do
here
it.
today?
Let's do it.
Let's be honest, being in a bike shop himself, he's probably got a bit more knowledge than the two of us because this is day job. So
Oh, well, you sound pretty
Hi.
experienced so far with your equipment. You're blowing me away with some of these products.
Thanks, Alex.
yeah, we'll take it, but really we go.
So what is in this box? We don't know. Alex, would you do the honours and open this up and see what it is?
This is some sort of surprise.
It's not a
Oh,
trick.
wait,
Well,
I
we
don't
don't
know.
know. We honestly have got no idea.
Oh, it's a big box, but not much in there, I
Glad-
can tell you.
Let's pull it out. I'm glad Alex is here because I don't know what this is.
Oh no.
Is this for toast?
Oh
I don't
my
know. What does
gosh.
it say?
So this is some shrimp.
Did you know about this? Because I didn't know. Have you seen what this is?
No.
This is fine, it's there.
Shram butter.
What is it? Oh no, I was,
Oh, is
oh
it-
wow.
Oh.
I was thinking it was chamois cream.
Oh, I thought it was chamois cream that comes with a syringe so that you can just syringe it into your ass.
Do we need to go into the back room?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, so you've got something called shram butter, and it looks like, well, it looks more or less. Shall we show the
Hold
fine
on, yeah,
people?
so can you tell us a little more about this being in a bike shop?
Do you know what this is?
Like this-
It's to do with well, obviously it says the foot bushings. So basically, just dealing with
Is this mountain bikes with suspension?
Foot bushings.
i.e. this doesn't go on a road
Shock
bike?
seals and more. Okay, so it's a beautiful.
So grease.
yeah.
Is that the long
Pretty
and the
much.
short of it for a chick? Yeah.
Yeah, it's RockShox. If ingested, do not induce vomiting.
Oh, well, I thought this was, you know, those donuts these days that you inject stuff in? I thought it was one of those, but...
Delicious.
So I suppose basically at the end of the day, these sort of products, I suppose, it's better for them to be used by the mechanics. basically, even
You
people
don't know
that are,
where me and John are going to put
people
them,
that are
so-
more advanced than me. I'm not really a mountain bike fiend, but
Yep, that's very nice that you said
basically
you.
a lot
not-
of the mechanics, deal with these equipments. Like if you know how to use the syringe
Yep,
and
then
using
use the
the
syringe.
shock suspension grease, then
It's kind of like
go
doctors.
to
town.
a bike shop. Exactly.
Yeah.
Go to one of the bike doctors.
Yeah.
My favourite thing is this is called Johnny Snot shifter grease.
Johnny Snot.
Johnny Snot. So I guess it somehow resembles snot.
Snot,
What's inside
that's-
this little syringe, and it's obviously to
Okay,
syringe things into
so-
your shifters. I really like
Okay,
it.
and
It
a
looks
shock. So shocks on your mountain bike, right? When you
good. Correct.
bang.
Right.
That shock.
It's time for us to do our rants and raves, Alex. You can think, if you've got a rant or a rave you've got a minute to think about it, because Paige and I will just do one quickly, and then you can do one before we go if you like. But what have you got, Paige? Have you got anything that you'd like to big up or big down?
Well, you brought up before a little story.
Oh,
Yeah,
we're
this
going to
week.
do my one first. That's
Well,
my one. You got your
I don't
one.
really have too much. To be honest, I'm not much of a rant or rave. I'm pretty happy with most
Okay.
people and most things in life. But I'm going to tell you about, before we do get on to your, this is a rave, in other
Okay.
words. I'm a very positive person. So this is this new thing called a Toronto that I actually picked it up off someone else again, is actually our Zwift friend called Ella Harris. She doesn't know me, but I think I know her through social media.
Yeah.
And it's called a Toronto Cycling Communication Technology. So essentially what it is, you know how we see the pros these days that have got the like tape in their ear, but this one is for like both pros and the recreational cyclists, and it's essentially like it's a Bluetooth. I'd almost say it's like a walkie-talkie, but also it's connected to your cell phone as well. And so what it does is it kind of sits on your helmet, like here. So it's actually not in your ear, and therefore it's safe that you can actually hear what's going on around you as well.
Important.
So it's almost like a
Absolutely.
little speaker, I'd say, and it sort of sits there on your helmet. And it allows, say we were all in a bunch ride and I see a pothole, I can say, yeah, pothole on the right.
Oh, so we're all talking now in a bunch
Yeah.
ride together, so
Yep.
they go not just to your phone but to each other.
Correct. Yeah, so like a walkie-talkie within the bunch, so you can all be connected.
So we can go piano, slow
Yeah.
down Alex, we can't keep up.
Yeah.
Do you know the range on the product?
Haven't had a good look at the range, but from what I understand, people are starting to use them in the bunch, pro bunches with the team cars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so
so
they must
it's
have a
like-
fair range.
Yeah. Enough
Yeah,
of
as
a
well,
range.
if you go out into the forest, for example, you can always, meet up with your friends. It's like, what are the conditions on this track, or
Yeah.
what are you experiencing?
Yeah, and so if someone's up ahead, as you say, too, you can be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll meet you at the bottom of this track.
Yeah, exactly. And I know with at least a lot of the radios that pro teams use on the road, the range is often, quite a few kilometres. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I have no
it's
doubt
very
that these are certainly of good quality if the pro teams are using them.
And-
But the whole idea of it, though, is just to get to the point and make sure that we're getting the right points through here, is that it is actually an out-of-the-ear speaker. It's not in the ear. So it means you can actually hear what's going on around.
Yeah.
But it's all about communication. And I mean, I just love seeing these cool new companies come up with like awesome ideas. It's like I love companies that come up with things you didn't know you needed. And now,
all
it's
the
right
time,
there.
all the time.
Straight away,
great.
the idea of being able to talk to the other people in the Marsden Wheelers
Exactly.
as we ride along.
Imagine if I could
I
come
just love the
past
idea.
your bunch and tune in. And then
You're not allowed on our frequency, sorry. 'cause
there was a
come
self
on.
invite.
You're not a Marsden Wheeler. I mean, it's just, it's
reality,
nothing against
right?
you,
Yeah.
but, join the team, buy the kit if you want to
Oh,
get
wow.
involved,
So
that's
there's
all
a
I'm saying.
cost involved. Okay.
Yeah, probably. That's a good one. I like that. And I've got a sort of a rant, a rave as well. Rave's the good one, right? I've got a rave as well today. I read an article that some brand new research that's come out in Denmark. They researched, they set cameras up at intersections to find out how many cyclists obey the road rules. And they found in Denmark that less than 5% of cyclists disobey the rules. Less than 5% of cyclists break the rules at intersections in Denmark. And they did this to kind of show, to find out whether it's true, that idea that all cyclists are kind of, louts out there riding through red lights willy-nilly and breaking the law. And they found that it wasn't true, less than 5%. That was when there were cycleways, because in Denmark obviously
Yeah,
they've got a lot
I
of
was gonna say,
cycleways.
yeah.
When there were no cycleways, they found that it raised to about 14% of bikers broke the rules. And a very similar number was found in London. When they did the same study, they found that 84, like at a red light, 84% of cyclists obey the red light.
Okay.
But there's about 16% that ride through the red light.
Right. I would have thought it'd been higher.
Yeah, you would think it would be
That
higher, wouldn't you? And
Number of cyclists going through the red light, I mean.
I wonder if in New Zealand it would be higher or lower. And I don't know, it'd be nice to see what the numbers are. What do you reckon, Alex?
I think, I mean, I don't know. Gosh, it's a bit of a difficult thing to think about in New Zealand. I would say that, I don't know, the more I've seen over the last few years, I would say more people do stop at red lights.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot more cyclists, people using the roads, biking on the roads. I've seen a lot more over the last couple of years than there was when I was sort of, growing up and getting into cycling.
Well, we were just having this conversation last week, weren't we? Saying that we think that Auckland drivers have actually become a little bit better. And then Tim went on to say...
Infinitely better.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm almost inclined to go onto my rant. More people need to get out there.
Yeah,
It's just like,
yeah.
I remember cycling several years ago, and basically, you'd see cyclists every now and then.
Yeah.
But now I go out in the mornings, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they're everywhere, right?
Heck yeah, it's just
Even
like-
commuting into work, like I literally would commute with like 5 other people each time, and I just go along the waterfront sort of thing. So
I've got a question for you guys then. I want us to be honest here before we wrap up this Ride Live broadcast here. Do we obey, let's take a little poll here, do we obey the road rules when you're on your bike, or do you ride through red
I
lights?
think you need to be a bit, I was going to say a bit more specific. Like, let's be honest, we ride
Do you
on
run
the
red
left.
lights? Let's just do that. Do you run red lights?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
can we speak to it? Our answers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's very much so though. If like I ride at 5:30 in the morning. Firstly, a lot of the red lights, or a lot of the lights don't actually pick up cyclists when we ride over them. And so you'd end up sitting there for like half an hour waiting for the next car to come.
Okay, so in that circumstance you would?
Yep. And then secondly, if there's absolutely no cars out there on the road, which is a lot of the time in some of the places we are, is that you come to a light, we look both ways, there's no cars, off you go.
You go.
Yep.
What about in the situation where you're riding in traffic, there's a red light, a lot of people around, middle of the day, commuting?
Nah.
Would you run that red light if you saw it was safe? Would you just go anyway? No, you
That's
wouldn't.
a good point. Yeah, absolutely not. You know, basically, the more congested that roads and footpaths are, you know, if you're going to run the risk, there's a lot more. You know, there are a lot more consequences with that. You know, the more people you're going to have to avoid if you're breaking the law.
Yeah.
But you know, like early in the morning when nobody else is around.
Yeah.
It's just like if you break the rules.
No one's
If no one's there to see you, if no one's there to be affected by it.
It's affected. I think that's the big thing. So like also too, at night time, as you say, when I commute home tonight, there's a light that I could just easily run every time, but there's so many cars around and I just don't want to give cyclists a bad name.
Yeah.
I don't want people to be like,
That's the big thing
that's
for
what the
me.
cyclists do,
Yeah.
look at them. And it's just...
I'm only human. I will run the red light occasionally, and or in the middle of you know when there's no cars around and it's dark, or when I can't trip the sensor and get a green light. But generally speaking, and I've changed because I used to not be like this. I used to go if it was safe and not care what anyone thought. But now I'm really conscious that we don't want to create that tension between drivers and cyclists. I don't want drivers going bloody cyclists and then treating us differently because of that. I want them going, there's some cyclists obeying the rules. We're all part of on the road. That's the feeling I want to get.
Well, I think that's a perfect point, and I think you are right. At the end of the day, you know, there are often people that you know I come across when I'm out on the road, and they'll just yell at you. They'll find whatever they can to yell at you. Fine, keep yelling. You know, it's just like if you know, at the end of the day, you know, riding the bike, you're creating less. You're part of less traffic.
Yep.
You know, you're not creating any pollution. You're just this little space on the road, and then somebody's in a big car getting frustrated that you're there. You know,
Some people are just so anti them though. And we heard that from Tim last week. He said, oh, well, obviously you guys haven't been riding out west. So found that out pretty quickly.
Well, that's our show here at the Ride Live. It's been wonderful. I'd like to first of all thank Alex Ray for joining us. I think Alex deserves another round of applause from our massive studio audience.
I think you deserve the round of applause actually.
Thanks for being here. We'll see you out on the road.
No doubt.
And
no doubt.
maybe you can join us again sometime on the Ride Live. We'll see you down there at Mountain and Cycles where you work as well. We should give your boss, your workplace a bit of a plug.
Oh, Mountain and Cycles. Be there, I'll see you there. It's hands down the best store in New Zealand. Basically one of the best stores in the world.
Well, there you go.
Come see Alex Ray, he'll give you a deal.
Oh, absolutely. We'll hook you up. We'll hook you up the proper way.
Thanks to Michael, our fantastic producer over here with all his fantastic gear for beaming us out live around the world. Thanks, Paige.
Thanks, John.
Thanks to Tim Clark. This is only the second time we've done the Ride Live. Already we've lost a presenter. Old Tim Clark's disappeared. Where is he? On his Swift? He's got
Probably on Zwift doing some time
Still out
trial.
riding, huh?
Yeah.
probably still out riding.
Addicted to riding.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Out Instagramming more likely.
That's
5% riding, 95% Instagram.
Yeah,
that
he
kid.
could be over 7,000 this week, followers, right? He was at 6,900 last week.
Yeah.
I've no doubt he's been working hard.
He will be unbearable. But thanks very much to Giltrap Skoda here in Newmarket for having us. We much appreciate it. Thanks to WH Worrells for the gear which we showed you guys in Unbox today. And like and subscribe us to find out more of what we're doing on the ride. We'll see you next week here on the Ride Live.
See ya.
Woo.